Hey, so part of the break I made before the 7th grade part 2 video was me on a week-long campout. So this is the part 1 of the story from that. Let's start. So after eating some normal food for the last time for a week during our 2-hour drive to the meeting spot, we arrive at a small hotel, the meeting spot for our troop. I throw on a Class A shirt and drag my huge bundle of supplies to the troop trailer. There are 3 things that are common for a scout to pack, at least for this camp. First, a deck of playing cards. Second, something to sleep in. And third, that overpriced knife that they like to show off and play with. I had an average price knife though, except I couldn't use it. Because you apparently needed a card to show that you're safe with it. So I basically just carried around a knife in my pack with no card that allows me to use it. That'll be handy if the authorities find my backpack. Just carrying around a knife on my back. Nah, it'll be fine. I'll just say it's to fight off any bears that go after me. So after we throw all our stuff in the troop trailer, we go back to our own cars to follow the trailer to the campsite, forming a big train that just cuts through the streets. We didn't hit anyone though because they just moved out of the way. Probably thought we were some kind of police force sent to an emergency. Sure. Let's just go with that. We arrive at camp, say adios to our parents, and walk in a group of our troop members over to the med tents where all the other troops are at. We arrive at our side of the med tent and form a line that takes around an hour. When I get to the front, they have me give them any medications and sign a paper, probably saying that if something eats me or I get hit by someone playing with their overpriced knife, it's not their fault. As our troop finished up at the tent, we slowly moved out and followed our leaders to the campsite, Clandia, which turned out to be the furthest campsite. Lucky for us. The way I thought campsite would look like to the way it was, I'll just say there was a pretty big difference. Yeah, this place was just the hot spot for spiders and other random bugs. Like if you ever need to restock on big spiders, Camp Clandia is the place for you. You'll just be standing there and you look at the wall and see a 2.5-inch wolf spider staring back at you. But the daddy longlegs were the real inhabitants of this area, and they were big and plentiful. So our troop unloads the trailer and has everyone pick tents. Each person sleeps in a tent with another person. The tents here are those A-frame platform tent things that stay there all the time, so they're pretty worn and have become the spider's main hangout spot. So we all got used to having our own spider whacking stick. I was with one of my friends and we had to pick out a tent from the remaining few. We find one that seems good and look over it one more time to find that it's infested with wasps. No thanks. By the way, these tents have 2 cots in them to put a sheet or sleeping bag or whatever on. But the frames for these cots are hollow. After a bit of wandering, we find tent option 2 and are ready to drop our stuff, but my friend who I'm with picks up the cot to look underneath to clear any spiders, but when he sets it back down, hundreds of ants fall out at the inside of the cot. He bangs the cot against the ground a few more times, and each time more ants just come spraying out. Why? On to tent 3. We search for other tents, but a lot of them have holes, so we can't use them because if it rains, then just no. So we find another tent and has one of those huge wolf spiders on it. But otherwise it's good. So we drop our stuff and go find a spider whacking stick. Another person comes up to us saying that they can help and they pull out their spider whacking stick. We say okay and he goes into the tent preparing to whack it and then just legit throws the stick at the spider, which means we didn't kill it and it just fell and is wandering loose somewhere around the tent. Fun stuff. We pick which cot we want in the tent after that, and I end up getting the one with all the springs on the left side missing. So if you lay down, you just slide through the side of the cot. So I put my big crate underneath the cot to hold up that area, but it still had a lean. Our tent that's supposed to be raised up an inch in case of rain was on a hill area, so rain can just run in if it rained. Ah, the things you don't notice when you first pick out your tent. I tied a rope from one end of the tent to the other to hang wet stuff on, and after we finished setting up, we went to a table to play cards while we waited. Soon we all walk to the dining hall for dinner, so when we get there, we're allowed to go in and we eat a decent meal. But the funny thing is that this camp has a soda machine that they turn on for dinner each day. So yeah, after we're done with everything there, we head back to the campsite, and what stinks is that just to go to the dining hall and back to the campsite is probably around a mile hike. And by the end of each day, your feet just want to die. When we get back to camp, we take showers in the shower house and brush our teeth there as well. The showers here have no temperature adjustment, so you would think it would be freezing cold when you take a shower. Nope, that's only how the hose is. It was burning hot. You couldn't stand under the water for more than like 20 seconds because it was just too hot. Barely any water even came out though. Sometimes we would just turn on the hose that's near the showers and spray it above all the showers and just make it rain cold water. We like to do this with one of our other friends when they were there because it's just a joke type thing we always do. So we went to do it this day and we were having it rain cold water and he wasn't responding, so we were just confused, and after a few minutes they said thanks, which just confused us even more because it didn't sound like him. So we finally ended up coming to the conclusion that maybe it's not who we think it is. Maybe we should stop. Maybe... Oops. But he wasn't mad. He probably even liked it because the water is usually so burning hot, especially considering the fact that he said thanks. So we slowly just leave while he's brushing his teeth. But it was becoming night, which brings us to... It was still pretty hot out when we had to go back to our tents to sleep, which is news that is much worse than you think. See, these tents don't let much air in, and on top of that, you are in a sleeping bag, which makes it even hotter. And this sleeping bag was like a cold weather one, not so fun for 80 degrees and humid. Now I know what you may be thinking. Hey, why don't you just lay on top of the sleeping bag so it's cooler? Because then you get eaten by the spiders. There must have been at least 20 spiders in our tent at all times. Still can't sleep. Nobody could actually sleep that night, and my sleeping or body bag was just a puddle of sweat. The bag stuck to me when I tried to move because of all the sweat. My mind just tried to sleep, but never even got close. I wanted to sleep, but couldn't. My skin burned, my mind hurt. I tried unzipping the bag some, but it made no difference. It was the worst feeling ever. We were actually considering sleeping on a random bench outside. And just as I was ready to literally die, a younger scout started crying, and we all knew by then that nobody was getting sleep that night. They were apparently thought their tent would randomly burst into flames because we told them not to spray bug spray on the inside of their tent because it could catch fire or something, but they sprayed it on the outside, which actually just removes the waterproofing on their tent. So now everyone is up, and one of the leaders talks to them for 3 hours trying to get them to go back to sleep. Didn't happen, and I got zero sleep. Hey, thanks for watching. Part 2 should come out soon, so remember to like, subscribe, and share to support and help grow our channel. Or don't. I'm not sure how many parts this series will have. I guess it just depends on how much of the story is interesting enough. Anyways, bye.